Welcome to Film on Tape, a free audio library for creatives in film and television. My name is Misha Calvert, and I've worked as an actor, writer, director, and producer for many decades. I had so many questions when I was first getting started in New York, and I just wanted fast, free answers. That is what this library is for. The work that you do as a creative is so important. I really hope that this library is going to help get your work out there. Film on Tape is sponsored by Vermilion, a coaching and educational company for creatives. You can learn more at clubvermilion.com. This week we have a very niche episode, but for those of you who love Succession as much as I do, hopefully it's going to be very satisfying. I spoke with Jackie Hanzl from the podcast Made, and I was able to suggest what show we would talk about on her podcast. Of course, I chose Succession, one of the greatest TV shows of all time, in my opinion, and certainly one of the most darkly funny. And I had just such a wonderful conversation with Jackie about Succession, and I even tell you which of the characters I like the most and which character I am, which is one of my favorite games to play. Who do you like and who are you? Because they're usually not the same person. So you can find Made on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and we're actually going to post the video of that episode that I recorded with Jackie here as well. So you can see the full conversation. Can't wait to share it with you. And gosh, I just wish we had another season of Succession to look forward to, but maybe one day. Without further ado, here's my episode with Jackie Hanzl.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Made with Jackie Hanzl. My guest today is Misha Calvert, and we are talking about the HBO Max series Succession. So welcome, Misha. So excited to have you here today.
Thrilled, absolutely elated to be here with you and talking about this.
Yes. Misha is a New York-based filmmaker who creates narrative work centering women and non-traditional protagonists. She has created a dozen short films and 5 digital series, including 2 that sold to networks. All Hail Beth on Brick TV and Strut on Reverie, which was featured in the Tribeca Film Festival and campaigned for an Emmy. She just finished photography on her latest short, Pink Flags, which stars Ray and Sawyer Spielberg, and is prepping for her debut feature, Ungodly, filming in 2025. Very cool. So let's get into Succession. Why did you choose this series?
Because it's some of the best television I've seen. It's some of the best writing, certainly. I mean, it's a writer's show. It's a writer's show and it's an actor's show. It's a lot of offices, a lot of boardrooms, a lot of very beautiful apartments. They do their best to spice up the locations, but at its core, it's writing and acting. And, you know, I have other favorite shows too that are just like wildly beautiful cinematography wise, but this is just one of the best written shows I have ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I read the summary, I was like, that sounds so simple, but that show, like the roller coaster, the pull, like you're just like, what's going to happen? I mean, they draw you in and you think it's going one way and then it turns and you're just like, I worked at Morgan Stanley back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I was not a banker, but I dealt with a lot of bankers. I felt like I was back there again. Like, yes. All the clothes really looked pretty much similar. You know, nothing was dated or anything, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is pulling me back into that whole vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was interesting because you're like, do I really like any of these people?
No.
You don't, but you're still still get an attachment. And I'll say Greg was my favorite. But I don't know. All right. So
I saw him once outside my door. He was eating a sandwich.
He's really tall, isn't he?
He's very tall.
It's always funny when people are like, they're actually really tall. Who's your favorite character in this show?
So the 2 games that I like to play are Who is your favorite? And then also Who are you?
Oh, okay.
And they're not always the same.
Okay. So
my favorite,
yes.
So my favorite is Tom, Matthew McFadden.
Okay.
I think it's a masterclass in acting and certainly in comedy. I mean, he just was utterly at the top of his craft in this role. The nuance, the layers, the like the artistry of how he would twist a single word as it came out of his mouth. He was just so liquid. It was flawless.
And figuring him out too. Yeah. All right. So who are you? Or yeah, who are you? I guess.
I don't know if I'm ready to answer that. I just met
Oh.
you. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
Well, I liked Greg.
Oh, you said Greg. Yeah.
I enjoyed him. I probably am Greg. Oh, God, I hope not. Oh my gosh.
He's pretty dumb.
Yeah, he's pretty dumb. So I hope I'm not. I just felt like he just say like stepped in shit. Like he just like ended up in places and oh my gosh. I don't know. I never thought about who am I in that whole crew. I don't know. It's a good. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if I'd like to be in any of their situations.
That's a very Gerri answer. Okay. You might be a Gerri.
I might be a Gerri. Okay.
She's very diplomatic. She's very level-headed.
True.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Calculating.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if I'm that calculating.
I'm a Logan.
You're a Logan.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
What a beast.
Yeah, he is a beast. And they all really, I felt like they all really did want his love and approval. Yeah.
That's it. I once dated a millionaire, and he worked with billionaires quite a bit, and he said that he never met a billionaire who was not simply trying to get the love of his father.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Never satisfied, right? Roman though also he's a
freak.
Yeah. He's so good too. Oh my gosh. They're all amazing. Yeah. He's good too. It's a tough one. I am not Roman.
There's also Marcia.
I know. No.
Let's not forget the ninja in the corner, Marcia.
Yeah. They all have something. That's the one thing I think with Greg is it really, even though he was trying to finagle his way in there, he just showed every emotion. He didn't try to hide.
Yes.
That's one thing about
very
him,
earnest.
So. Yes, very earnest. So you said obviously the acting is amazing, the writing. I'm thinking that this has inspired you. Did it inspire you at all too?
I came to screenwriting from a playwriting background and from a dark comedy playwriting background. So the spoken word and the spoken barb was my medium of choice for many years. You know, Edward Albee, I like idolized him. And there's a lot of Albee in the dialogue. So it's taken me a long time to move from words to images. But Succession, that's why they have so many theater writers who wrote episodes. They have many playwrights who came in to guest write an episode or two. And so the dialogue is just sparkling with that sizzling lifeblood of theatrical writing. And it's taken me a while to pivot to writing for on camera, but watching it really reminded me of where I came from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Were some of or many of the actors also from theater background?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, Brian Cox is a titan of the stage. Matthew McFadden's no stranger to it. Kendall, what's his name? Jeremy Strong was just on Broadway. Shiv is I think on Broadway now in Dorian Gray.
Okay.
So
yeah.
They're all over it.
How did you start playwriting? Or how did you start getting into all this?
I am so excited to tell you that I'm launching a brand new slate of classes that are incredibly helpful on my website. Some of the classes include on-camera acting technique and how to self-produce your own film, actor self-care, which is something that nobody talks about, and how to write a feature film in 10 days, which I'm going to teach you how I did it and how you can do it too. And believe me when I say I poured my heart into these courses. Go to clubvermillion.com. I am so excited about this website. I can't wait to work with you. Well, I was writing plays and movies as a child without any encouragement really, or training. It was just something that naturally came out. And then I started acting in school and community theater. And then I got to college and I was like, maybe I could write something. Like, we've got all these free resources, free spaces, free theaters, free empty buildings. Like, can I do something site specific? So I started writing just because there was all this like free money around. And that was the awakening of being able to write for a community of people, for my friends. And then I got to New York. I wrote a few off-Broadway one acts that I directed. And then I was trying to be an actor in theater, and it just wasn't working. I found it very homogenous at that time. This is maybe 15 years ago. And like, there weren't bodies that looked like me, or, kind of short, little weird women running around. It was all like these tall, lithe, or, the big old nurse or whatever. So I felt very out of place in theater as an actor. And that was when I started writing for on camera, for roles that I thought I could play on camera. And then a friend introduced me to his girlfriend, who was a producer, and she wanted to make one of my scripts. And from there, it was just, up and away.
Very cool. What were you doing to support yourself while you were writing?
Lots of things. Some I can talk about, some I can't.
Okay.
But I worked in corporate for a few years when I first got here. I was in PR, and then I was in media and advertising. And so I do understand these kind of office rooms that Succession features, and the suffocating insanity of it all.
Cool. What was that first script that your friend's girlfriend produced?
It was a web series called Tinder is the Night.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Good play on words.
Thank you. Yeah, and then Tinder tried to sue me, so I had to change the
name.
Oh,
really? Jeez. Oh, gosh. And where could you see it?
So, gosh, I think I changed it to textual intercourse.
Oh,
but I think you can, if you ask me, I can send you a link, or I could just email it to you.
Yeah, I'd like to watch it.
I think it's publicly available. I should release textual intercourse.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Wow.
That project until just now. I'm going to write it down on my to-do list.
Okay. I love it. And I had asked you some questions, I know, before we started, and I wanted to ask you, so obviously the audience could hear. All Hail Beth is on Brick TV, and I wasn't familiar with that. So you told me that's a public access channel, we'd say, Brooklyn.
I mean, it's technically on YouTube. You could just look it up.
It's on YouTube. Okay, yeah. I didn't realize that. Okay.
YouTube powers their streaming platform, so
okay.
You could find it for free on YouTube.
Okay, good to know. And then on Reverie, you said, was also a streaming platform.
Yeah, and that also should be free. There's just ads on that one. Okay. But yeah, Strut is on Reverie. That's the one that campaigned for an Emmy. It's very good. The ensemble is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's about 4 women who form an escorting agency. So, ahead of its time. But it's very funny. I'm really proud of it.
Okay. What is All Hail Beth about?
So that's about a Persian woman in New York who is kind of clumsy and just not very good at life. And she is having the worst birthday ever. And then she goes to sleep thinking that she's just going to, this is the end, basically, for her. And then she wakes up a Babylonian goddess.
Wow. All right. I got to check these out. What does it mean? I don't know what that means, to campaign for an Emmy. I didn't know that you had to campaign for an Emmy.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, I know nothing about this stuff.
It is so much work. It is so expensive, and it is so much work.
That's what I was thinking.
You have to pay to even be in the running.
Wow.
First, you have to get on a network that's eligible, and then you have to pay to be in the running. Wow. And then you have to pay for like ads, like marketing and ads to get people to vote.
Oh my goodness. I had no idea. I don't know anything about this. So, wow, I had no idea. I watched the trailer for Pink Flags.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and that looks very cool. How long is it? I know it's, as you said, it's a short.
So that right now we actually are finishing the edit, but right now it's coming in, I think, around just under 13 minutes.
Oh, okay. It looks like it will keep you guessing the entire time.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah, that looks very like on the edge of your seat. 13 minutes, but it sounds like I'll be on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, and the Spielbergs, they're married in real life, and they're friends of mine, but they really were able to kind of put their relationship aside and just be these magnetic forces as protagonist and antagonist in the film. And Sawyer, he's such a good actor. So is Ray. With Sawyer, though, his character's a little more complex because he has to play both sides at times. And so, like you're saying, he really does keep you guessing the entire film.
And that, I'll just say, so Ray plays a figure skater, right? Figure skater? And
I wrote it for her because she's a skater in real life.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Then you don't need to have somebody else do it. And then he plays, looks like a custodian at the rink?
He's a figure at the rink.
Okay,
I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. Okay. Can I say what else the trailer said, though?
Yeah, yes.
That's like, it sounds, at first, you think that she is being stalked by him, but then there's a comment and you're like, wait, or is he being stalked by her? So it looked very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm curious to watch that. Oh, and I want to ask you too about, can you tell us about Ungodly that starts filming?
For sure. Yeah. Well, so I'm still drafting it and going out to the rest of our investors. We have some of it secure, but it's raising for a feature is different than raising for a short. But it's okay. I'm very confident. And mainly I'm confident in the mission, which is looking at the evangelical church and their relationship to women and to men. And how it's set in the South. Well, the protagonist, she's in college at an Ivy League up north in the East Coast. And then her boyfriend, who she meets in college, is from the South. And she's just not great at life. She really wants to be good at school and at life, but it's just all a bit much for her. And so she goes back to the South with him to live with him in his house, in his house is his family's house, and then meets his family, and they're part of this church. And so it looks at everything with an empathetic lens, but also a relentless lens. Because we're in hot water right now with women and the church. It's just not a good scene.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in San Diego.
Okay. I was just curious because you're talking about the church.
My parents were ministers, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I was raised Catholic. Yeah. I wanted to ask you too about Vermilion. So I know you coach artists. Or
Yes.
Like support. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So I've been an artist my whole life, and I was asked to teach at One-on-One, which is like a networking studio for actors.
Okay.
And that was kind of the pivotal moment where I was like, what? You want me to teach? And then they were like, yeah, you've been to Tribeca, teach here. So I taught a class, and then I kept teaching, and I kept getting asked to other studios as well. And then the students started asking if I did one-on-one coaching. And again, I was like, what? No. And then eventually I was like, why not?
Right.
What they keep asking for it. Why don't I just offer that? So from that feedback and that energy, Vermilion was born. And I basically started it as a way to save people money and time. I spent so many years not knowing where to go, who to talk to, who to hire, waste my money. People were mean to me. I just wanted some direct answers that would get me far fast.
Right.
And so Vermilion, whether it's a class, an online course, coaching session with me, I really just try. You can tell I'm very direct. So I just try and get to the point in a way that's going to help people.
Why did you name it Vermilion? I'm just curious.
I really like the color.
Yeah.
It was one of the first colors because the Chinese used it. They would get it from, I think from beetles, and they would make like paint out of it. And I just thought that was so cool. It's like a color of war, but also of passion. And it's just a beautiful red.
Yeah. I could be off. It reminds me of the curtains on a stage too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty color. You have a podcast too?
I do.
Film
yes.
on tape.
Yes, man, that's right. That's, again, it's in the spirit of creating really efficient short episodes that answer one topic at a time. Mm-hmm. It's not like we can just pick up the phone and call somebody who's senior to us and, just ask like a Q&A service. So I'm trying to make it as accessible as possible to just get an answer to a question that you might have with enough detail that will actually help you.
Yeah, that's great because, I work at a school and obviously I have colleagues that I can go to and ask questions for. But when you're an artist, you're building.
So lonely.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this is great. I love that too. Just like one topic too for that and to go to. That's wonderful. You're providing that.
Thank you.
And the one-to-one and all that. Yeah. So I have some silly questions. Well, not silly, but kind of lighter questions for you, I guess.
Oh, yes, please.
What is something you can't, should we go with the more serious? What can't you live without? But it can be something superficial. Like I said, peanut butter.
My God, I love peanut butter. I love it so much. I can live without that, though. Let me think about that. What can I not live without? I really love water. It is so good. It's so delicious. Obviously, I can't live without that. But, maybe on a different note, I start to get really bummed out when I don't see people and like get hugs. I like hugs.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right, a little lighter. What can't you leave your house without? Not obviously keys, like, not the stuff you need. But if you walk out of the house, you're like, oh my God, like you're almost a little panicky. Like if you
so I can't leave without checking the stove at least 3 times to make sure the burners are off.
Okay. But now I'm talking about like an item, like a jewelry or something like that you bring with you.
Oh, you're just going to pass over my vulnerable OCD right now?
A lot of people do that.
It'll be 3 to 15. Let me put it that way.
Really?
Yeah. Depending on the day. So in my hand, my lip gloss.
Okay.
A dry lip, it just ruins the day.
I had to put stuff on before I got on here. Yeah. I was dying. What kind of lip gloss? Is there a certain kind you like?
Doesn't matter. I mean, I used to be a chapstick girl, and now I'm trying to like put a little color on these days. So whatever
Nice.
Whatever colors I can find.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's what I got for you.
I have questions for you.
Oh, okay.
What are your favorite Succession quotes?
Oh boy. Now I'm completely blanking out. Oh, darn it! And 2, I just watched recaps and oh my God. And
Moments. Moments.
Oh my God. I did like when Greg and Tom get into like the slap fight. I know it was kind of toward the end.
With the water bottles.
Yes, and I don't want to give stuff away. I did really like when all the kids were together at their mothers. Those 2. Again, I know those were toward the end. The memorable moment, which was so disgusting, was in the first episode when Greg gets sick in his costume.
Oh right, yeah. Yeah, well, they are the disgusting brothers. Which I love that joke because there's no context whatsoever for that backstory. They're just like in, I think season 2 or 3, like just suddenly Greg and Tom are just joking about being called the disgusting brothers for out of nowhere, and we never really talk about it again.
Do you think that was like ad-lib? I don't know, like ad-libbed or something, or that was put in there? I don't know.
Man, who knows?
That funny when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's their genius or the genius of the writing team, but because it's also just like such a kind of a dumb cringe thing to be called, and
Like, it's not clever or funny at all. And they're like so proud of it.
What else? Oh, well, I just thought of the cringe moment. Cringe moment was when, oh my God, Kendall was rapping or singing.
Oh, yes.
Something.
Yes. L to the OG. Yes. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I actually listened to that song on repeat one day, the whole day. I just listened to that. We Here For You. Classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, it was Tom and it was Greg again. And just like the way that giant corporate marketing campaigns they're just in the toilet. They're just, by the end of it, they're just like, just sewage with the messaging. And they just nailed it so good. He's like, oh, we hear you. Well, we can't actually say that because the boxes in their living rooms are actually listening. What do you mean they're listening? Well, there's some data privacy concern. It's just like perfect. Perfect representation of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your favorite moments?
So I also loved Tom's, this was a small one. I don't think anyone else maybe even clocked this. In the election episode, he shows up wearing shiny shoes. And someone, because he's so eager, he's just so brown nosy. And like someone was like, oh, shiny shoes, huh? It was just so subtle. Because everyone else is in sneakers. But that was pretty good. Brian Cox has this line where he's looking at his kids and he's like, I love you all, but you're not serious people. And he fucking means it. Mm-hmm. And he said that was his favorite line, but I remember that and I'm like, yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
Also, Boar on the Floor was pretty intense.
You have to
when they're in they're like in a castle. It's like a retreat and he like makes everyone play the game where you get on the floor like a pig.
Yes. Okay.
And he's like throwing like hot dogs at them.
You're just listening to him. Yeah.
Those are my favorites.
All right. Do you have any other questions?
Are you sad that it ended? Or you feel like it's complete?
Oh, I was left a little like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought that was very realistic.
Yes.
So I was like, well, really? Would it really have been? Well, I know we can't give a lot away. All nicely tied up in a bow. No. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. And it's based on the Murdochs.
I had read that. Yeah.
They could never say that, but. Yeah. What a mess, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I am so grateful to be able to fangirl about this show with somebody because usually it's just me talking to myself about it.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah, I mean, I know when I finished it, I was like, what are we gonna watch now? That always happens, when you binge something.
Absolutely,
and you miss them a little, even though you hate them.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, where can people find you?
Oh yeah. So if you want to look at my work, you can go to mishacalvert.com. Mm-hmm. If you want to find, thank you. Instagram, I love Instagram. It's kind of the only place that I'm on. So that's at Misha Calvert, very easy to find.
Yeah.
And Film on Tape is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at Film on Tape.
Okay. I'll put all the links for those in the description. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Of course. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening and watching. And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Film on Tape. If you like the way that I approach the industry, check out our other classes, consulting, and mentorship at clubvermilion.com. Vermilion is a home for artists and those looking to expand creatively. Whether you're an actor, a film professional, an entrepreneur, or a CEO, we'll help you find your voice and hone your skills to thrive in any market at any scale. You can schedule a free phone consultation at clubvermilion.com.